Say hello to the big, beautiful morning. This is 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair here with the Tuesday morning buzz, the last one before the Thanksgiving break. I'm here, as always, Kyle Pepitone, with my co-host, Jacob Getz,
Hello.
and our sports/newscaster today, Campbell Donovan. Good morning, both of you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Kyle.
That's great to hear, Campbell.
I'm doing better than I was last week,
Awesome.
so I'm glad to be back.
That's awesome.
Love to hear that.
It's great to have you back. As always, we've got a show lined up for you today. We are going to be looking at the aftermath of the Kyle Rittenhouse case and the Waukesha parade crash. But before we have any of that, we have Campbell today with our newscast. Campbell, what's going on in the world?
Well, thank you, Kyle, and good morning, everybody. My name is Campbell Donovan, and on this beautiful but chilly Tuesday, I'm joining you here from 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Now, time for your 7 a.m. newscast. I'm getting confused already. From the Montclair State University held an in-person and online meeting to acknowledge native land. Montclair State President Jonathan Coppell started the meeting talking about Indigenous people, saying, quote, one of the most central issues that we have to face as a country, one element of the past is that we have to reconcile ourselves is with genocide of Indigenous Americans as an extremely foundational element of this country. The genocide of the cultural and literal Native Americans is one aspect in our history that is shamefully papered over, end quote. According to NJ.com, a Burlington County man admitted his role in a GoFundMe scam that involved his then girlfriend in a lie about a helpful homeless veteran. The man and his girlfriend wound up securing $400,000 from online donors. In national news, AP News says Kyle Rittenhouse told Fox News that his case was not a matter of race. Rittenhouse stated, quote, this case has nothing to do with the race. It had never do anything to do with race. It had to do with the right to self-defense, end quote. More on that later. Now for the weather on this Tuesday, we're looking at a high of 44 and a low of 31. It's currently a chilly 31, so be sure to bundle up with all your heavy clothing. The air quality is good and the humidity is at around 60%. Today will be nice and sunny all day. Guys, this has been your 8 a.m. newscast. Back to you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And before I give it back to you, Campbell, for the sportscast, I do want to say this. So I often forget to put my water bottle in my fridge at night. So by the morning, it is, room temperature, kind of warm. I walked over here today to the studio in the what is described as 31-degree weather.
Yeah.
My water was cold by the time I got to the building. Let that sink in.
Cold and refreshing.
Yeah.
I'm happy something good came out of it.
That's something. I was also going to say, at what point does the high temperature stop being considered a high temperature? Because I don't consider 44 a high temperature. But that's just me. Anyway, before I start rambling, Campbell, back to you again. What is going on in the world, this time, the world of sports?
Well, thank you. And now I know not to mess it up this time again. Now time for your 7 a.m. sportscast. Monday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers crush the New York Giants 30-10. And tonight, LeBron James has been suspended for one game after his injection during a scrum against the Detroit Pistons. For the first time in his career, LeBron James will not play tonight against the Knicks. Last night, the Brooklyn Nets beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 117-112. And good news for Devils fans out there, Jack Hughes is back on the ice for the Devils, participating in a non-contact jersey. Hughes was injured earlier in the season after being rammed into the boards and injuring his shoulder. MSU men's and women's basketball will be on the road tonight at Kane in a back-to-back matinee matchup against the Cougars. And on this day, wishing Red Sox legend Louis Tiant a happy 81st birthday. This has been your 7 a.m. sportscast. Back to you, Kyle.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now, as always, we move into our top story from apnews.com. Waukesha parade crash suspect bail raises questions. The suspect in a Christmas parade crash in suburban Milwaukee that killed 5 people was free on a $1,000 bail posted just 2 days before the deadly event. One pending case against Darrell Brooks Jr. included an allegation that he deliberately hit a woman with his car in early November after a fight. Prosecutors in Milwaukee County on Monday called their bail recommendation inappropriately low, given the facts of the case and the Sunday crash, and said they would review it. Police say they're going to recommend he faces 5 charges of first-degree intentional homicide, which is punishable by life in prison. Legal experts cautioned that one extreme case should not be the reason to push for higher bail amounts that would keep poor defendants behind bars longer while they await trial.
Oh, geez. There's a lot. Oh,
There's a lot to unpack, but I will say, based on what this is, I mean, you deliberately hit somebody with your car. Of course, that was allegedly, but if he did, yeah, $1,000 is way too low.
yeah, that does seem like a lot to like I don't know, like like a little.
$1,000 barely even covers like getting a dent out of a car, much less, hitting somebody with one. Like, think about medical expenses for the woman he hit, and just all that, because this is not. It's way too low. Yes, obviously, as legal experts say, one case shouldn't decide everything, but also that doesn't make sense. One extreme case should not push for higher bail that would keep poor defendants behind bars longer while they await trial. Shouldn't they be? I'm confused, because isn't the whole point to like be in custody until your trial happens?
I mean, yeah.
I'm not a lawyer or in any field of law, but I feel like, what's the point of like arresting somebody if they're free to live their life until they're called to court?
I don't know. I don't know how the legal system works.
Okay.
I'm not sure. How it
Me
works.
neither. But I will preface this. These are all, everything I just said is my own opinion and does not reflect that of anyone else here or of the station.
Yeah.
As a whole. And according to the Ghost of Kenny, bail gives you the chance to not live in court until your trial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you don't have to hang out there until like.
But it goes back to, you did something wrong and now you have to, kind of
defend
but
that's
yourself.
Just kind of how it like that's the system, It's like, yeah, I'm not sure.
It's like, I'm going to give this analogy. It's like if your parents asked you, like, you did something wrong in front of your parents and they ground you for like a week before you have to defend yourself, but you give them like a 20 and they're like, okay, you suffer no punishments until the week of your court date or whatever it is.
For your court date.
Yeah.
For cheating on your test. No, but I think it's also important to keep in mind that this isn't really supposed to be available to everyone. It's supposed to be available to like the ultra wealthy. Well, not the ultra wealthy, but just like, people who could afford it, which is, I think, in itself kind of messed up.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. That's
I'd like
a stupid thing.
Wait, so what I'm getting out of this, sorry to interrupt you, but what I'm getting out of this article is that the person who rammed into 5 people and injuring multiple is literally free on bail.
No, not right now.
Not
it was
now?
before
Not
he
before?
did it. He
Oh,
did
before
something
he did it?
else where he struck one person with a car. And he was put on bail for that incident, and then he went on to commit this.
Exactly
even more
why
heinous.
this shouldn't work. And according to the Ghost of Kenny, you don't even have to pay the whole thing up front. You have to pay 10% and then just pay the rest in time, like it's layaway in Walmart.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
What that bail never made any sense to me. I just never understood paying your way. I mean, this is just an article full of analogies now, but it's like a game of Monopoly.
Oh yeah, it's a very it's a very questionable system.
Yeah, it's
especially
very
like,
confusing
in this story. Yeah, geez, this is just absolutely horrible.
Yeah, that is there's some stuff that needs to be looked over there. because things are not adding up. But speaking of trials, Jake,
Yes.
our next story.
Okay. So Kyle Rittenhouse, you might have heard of him in the past few weeks, tells Fox News that he's not a racist person and that he actually supports the BLM movement. Kyle Rittenhouse said in a wide-ranging interview that aired on Monday night that he's not a racist person and supports the Black Lives Matter movement. That being said, Rittenhouse was photographed in a bar before the trial with apparent members of far-right Proud Boys. Rittenhouse attorneys have said he is not a white supremacist. He said, quote, "I am not a racist person. I support the BLM movement. I support peacefully demonstrating. I feel like my life has been extremely defamed. I have really good lawyers who are taking care of that right now," end quote. Rittenhouse said that his life is different from what he had planned. He said he is taking college prerequisites to become a nurse and hopes to study on campus, but is also now thinking about studying law. Plans to move to the Midwest, but is not exactly sure where he will go. So this is kind of bizarre. Well, I don't know. It's kind of funny in a way because I saw I occasionally go on an app you might have heard of called Twitter, and a lot of people were mad about this.
Really?
You know,
I mean, well,
a lot of people obviously
really. It's
really
Twitter.
people were
People are
mad
gonna
about
be-
Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, yeah, okay.
Not
there's
only
lots of
that,
reasons.
it's Twitter. People are going to be mad about anything.
But the people who are mad about this are concerned, like more, I guess, right wingers,
Really?
because here they've been backing Kyle Rittenhouse, and then he says that he backs the BLM movement. It's like
Very true.
There
But
were a lot of
also-
people mad about that, like just straight up.
Yeah, but with that being
Um,
said, you also read that he was allegedly photographed with members of Proud Boys. So it is very possible he's just saying
Oh,
this to like
absolutely.
give himself a little bit of credit.
Yeah, no, it's 100% PR. Like,
I
don't know.
Which, if you ask me, let's say he does. I'm not saying he doesn't, but hypothetically, if he's just saying it as, like you said, PR, I feel like he's pushing it a little bit because he already got acquitted, which I believe means he was free of all charges.
Yeah, no,
that's what you explained to me.
Yeah.
And so now to kind of make himself look better and say he supports it just like solely for the purpose of looking better. Once again, this is all hypothetical. It's like, the first rule of dig when you're stuck in a hole is to stop digging.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe like he could very well not like he could very well support the BLM movement wholeheartedly. But I'm saying if he doesn't and is just doing it as PR, he's digging himself in a deeper hole, because with the photograph of him with the Proud Boys, and let's say later down the line it comes out that he doesn't actually support BLM, and he can't claim his life has been defamed because then that one's on him. But I do feel like he's been through a lot, and understandably so. He did something bad, no matter what side you support.
Killing
somebody,
2 people is kind of like,
it goes up all the way to like that is a law like even religion says don't do. So like
try to avoid that.
So no matter what side you support, he didn't do something morally right per se in the grand scheme of things. But to say like he would like ungenuinely support the BLM movement, like I said, just to make himself look a little better, and then by any chance that comes out later that he's literally actually did do it to support him just to make himself look better, then that kind of takes away all like deniability he has.
Yeah, it's tough because you can never truly know what's going on in a person's head, what they think and feel. But
very true.
At the same time, it's like, I don't know, if you're hanging out with white supremacists, you're probably a white supremacist.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if there's an exact saying, but like you're like the people you hang around.
Yeah.
There's a very little chance you will.
And also, you did kind of shoot up a Black Lives Matter rally.
Too.
That I don't see you being a big
but
leftist ally in the future.
Saying you support peacefully demonstrating and then walking in with an assault rifle, Can you say oxymoron or
Yeah.
juxtaposition or dichotomy?
Yeah, it goes
There's a
to
million words I could have put there, but you get the point. With that being said, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we've got more news for you, including Montclair and the NAACP. So
Oh, geez.
stay tuned for that. Welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Tuesday morning buzz of 2021 in the fall, even though with the weather report Campbell gave us, I'm not too sure how much more fall
Yeah,
we're gonna have.
We're running out.
To quote Game of Thrones, winter is coming.
Kind of
Even though I
unfortunate.
didn't watch the series.
Yeah, neither have I. I've seen like 2 episodes,
My
so
brother
don't feel
thinks
bad.
it's the greatest thing ever, and I could still argue with him that The Sopranos is the better
Yeah.
show.
And y'all haven't seen you haven't even seen it, so it's just like
We'll have to talk about that later. But I am your host, Cop Eptone, co-host Jacob Getz,
Hi.
sports/newscaster Campbell Donovan, and as always, the ghost of Kenny in the background. Not physically the background, but
Yeah.
you get the point.
He's here in spirit.
We're back, and we have our next story as NJ's first full report on school staff student COVID cases show 22,000 positive tests this year. From NJ.com, New Jersey on Monday publicly reported for the first time that there have been nearly 23,000 positive coronavirus tests among students and staff in the grades kindergarten through 12th grade across the state since the start of the academic year, along with the numbers showing nearly 85% of school staff are fully vaccinated. The new data available on state's COVID-19 dashboard includes almost 2,100 schools, nearly 60% of the state's total, that are now providing weekly updates to the state's Department of Health. Previously, the state had only reported that student and staff positive tests were linked through contact tracing to be in-school transmission of 3 or more cases. New Jersey required all public and private school employees to be fully vaccinated against the virus and undergo regular testing by October 18th.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone was talking about how kids they're tough. They got their immune system. Let's just open up schools again. I don't know. I'm not exactly against opening up schools or I'm not taking a definitive stance, but it is funny because I feel like there was a lot of rhetoric going around about it wouldn't this just wouldn't happen, and 23,000.
Oh. Yeah, well, this is going to sound weird, but silver lining, that's 22,000 for the entire okay, wait, no, I take that back. The academic year has only been 3 months. So I was going to say, for the whole year, 22,000 isn't bad, but then I'm like, oh wait, that's 23,000 in less than 3 months.
Whoops.
So less good. But I mean, I'm curious to see how the numbers are affected if we group in universities with this.
Yeah,
because this is only K through 12. So once again, us, Rutgers, TCNJ, all those places
they don't care about us college kids.
Yeah, are not included. And the article here says that all public and private school employees were said to be fully vaccinated. And as we know, the vaccine is only eligible to those 12 and up, I believe, right? Unless it changed recently.
Oh,
I think I can't remember.
I think it might have gone down 2 or 3 ages.
Well, they've
recently
have approved the boosters for the different type of shots, but I can't remember if they approved anything.
Right. But for the longest time, it used to be 12 years old and up, which, as you know, does not cover a few grades.
It sounds like now it's 5 to 15 can get it too.
Okay, that's good. But does that cover all the way K through 12, or is there some grades?
Oh, geez. How old are you in kindergarten?
I don't know. I barely remember last week, much less 15 years ago.
You in kindergarten.
So, yeah. So not all.
Oh, yeah. You're about 5.
Oh, okay. So it now covers all through K through 12, but that was only recently, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. So that being said, you missed a few grades when it was only 12 years old. So that's why all students weren't mandated to get vaccinated. That being said, here in the like 7 colleges I just mentioned, all students were mandated to get the vaccine. So I'm very curious to see how those would affect the numbers. Obviously, it would increase in some aspect, but I'm wondering if it will increase like not exponentially, but drastically. Because yes, colleges are a much bigger campus, but we have that mandated vaccine to fall back on, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And that being said, having only 85% of school staff, I honestly thought it would have been much higher.
85% of school staff. Yeah, you think.
I mean, what are we here at Montclair? We're close to like 95% vaccinated, at least within the student body.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen any numbers like that.
Yeah, they haven't sent out numbers.
It sounds right to me.
Yeah, I know we were somewhere in the 90s last time I checked before the start of the semester.
Yeah, I'd assume most people are vaccinated,
Yeah,
except for, cases of like religious exemption or some sort of, health thing.
Yeah, unless other than those 3 reasons, if you're not vaccinated, you are not on campus.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Jake, let's take a look at Montclair and what's happening with them.
Okay, the NAACP, Montclair Township Attorney called member 3/5 of a human. Oh boy, what is going on here? 2 members of Montclair chapter of NAACP alleged the township's attorney made a racially insensitive remark, calling 3/5 of a human after they joined him for a court hearing in September. The allegations are being made public as the township finds itself beginning another separate investigation involving the issue of race. 2 firefighters say that believe a promotions test scoring rubric was deliberately crafted to put them at a disadvantage, discarding their seniority and penalizing them for decades-old disciplinary incidents. Council members agreed last week to hire a counsel to review that matter as well. And chapter leaders say they're still waiting to hear back about an investigation of the matter that they believe has been completed for weeks. Councilman Peter Yacobelis independently confirmed to Montclair Local Monday that he and other members of the governing body had received the report. He said he couldn't address the report's findings and that the council hadn't yet had time to discuss them as a group. Other council members haven't yet been reached or declined comment from the Montclair Local. Township Manager Timothy Stafford also hasn't returned messages left since Monday morning. Oh, geez. A lot going on here. Well, first, it needs to be remarked that
that was a bad thing
that's pretty
to say.
bad. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. Don't do that.
Can I just say
please?
something?
Yeah, go ahead, Campbell.
If you have to say something that's not really nice, don't say it at all.
Yeah.
Especially like this goes beyond not nice. This goes, insensitive, makes you look like a horrible person. You wind up on a headline on an amazing news show with an amazing crew.
Not a good way to do that.
Yeah. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it. If you have something truly horrible to say,
see a therapist.
Maybe or leave the room. And then according to Jake, which obviously, once again, just his opinion, not that of the station. But see a therapist or talk to somebody, because you got to be not in a horrible place, but to have your mind first think that I understand there are some people who have issues with filtering what they say and stuff, but to have your brain conjure up to say that, run through should we say that, approve saying that, and then physically saying
make it
that
through the entire administrative process in your brain.
Yeah,
it's just no,
you
need to
something needs to be fixed, because that is not something you should say ever.
Yeah, it's cool that the NAACP is cracking down on it, because
I think there was a number of organizations that would not tolerate this.
Yeah,
if it happened within their general body, I guess. Is that the right way to say
Yeah.
it?
No, you like to think, but I don't know. This stuff does get swept under the rug.
Sometimes, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't even. Yeah.
But with that being said, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we got more stories for you, including a guy who turns old tires into beds for dogs and cats. And oh boy, I'm excited for that one. Stay tuned. Yes. It is a time to be thankful for Thanksgiving. And we here at 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair are thankful for that too. I know I'm thankful for Thanksgiving. I'm sure our co-host Jacob Getz is thankful. And I'm sure our news/sportscaster Campbell is also thankful. Correct?
Yes.
I guess.
I sense some hesitation. Are you okay?
Yeah. Thanksgiving's cool.
All right, I'll take it. Moving on, we have some great stories for you. According to the Good News Network, once biologically dead, London's River Thames rebounds with seahorses and seals. The once declared biologically dead Thames River flows as much life as with water these days, and the first report on its health in 60 years is enough to make a person cheer. Perhaps 115 species of fish live in the river, providing food for not one, not two, but 3 species of shark, which swim above the river bottom, where seahorses and eels can be found. The State of the Thames report highlights the gradual work in reduction of pressure of life in the river over the last 60 years when pollution and sewage decimated it. Short and long-term phosphorus concentrations have fallen, while dissolved oxygen has increased. Annual counts of both species of seal have taken place on the Thames estuary every year since 2013, except during 2020. And they've increased from 797 harbor seals to 932, and from 2,866 gray seals to 3,243. Additionally, the future is bright for the river, as while some measurements of life in the Thames are worsening, the report details a new super sewer that will divert 95% of all sewage from the waterway. That's awesome.
Nice.
I mean, a little scary, the fact that there are 3 species of sharks there. But other than that, seals are cute.
Yeah. It's
But-
kind of funny that,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, we're scared of sharks, so it's just like, maybe don't.
Well, yeah, it's weird that we are scared because I don't think I remember like reading or watching somewhere that they're not as bad as the movies portray them to be.
I could never be
which-
scared of a fish, bro. You're stuck in water.
Yes, well, that's why I don't go in water. They have home court advantage.
But even if
So-
you go in water, you just run. You just get out.
I'm
Nice
sorry, do you
pun.
run in
You just-
water?
You just swim right out of there. You just
Okay, yeah.
book it.
I mean,
That quick,
May I just
Go ahead,
energetic
Campbell.
freestyle.
may I put my little pun in there? Just keep
Yes.
swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yes.
Just keep swimming.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, but once again, home court advantage. I feel like the Sharks might be better at
Yeah, but
swimming.
sharks
than
don't
you.
even have arms, bro. Like, I don't know.
No,
They're
what they lack
fins.
in arms, they make up in rows of teeth.
Yeah.
They have
I got
more
teeth.
than
That's
one.
true.
What's so special about that?
They're razor sharp and they look cool
My
on a
teeth are pretty
necklace.
sharp.
You
I think.
You
Never
think-
mind.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say that.
Hold up there.
You think they named the shark Bruce after Finding Nemo?
I mean, there's 3 species of sharks. I'm sure one of them is named Bruce. That's like saying, like, on all of campus, do you think there's somebody named John Smith? Like, I'm sure there is. There's like 20,000 people here. So, it's possible. But I definitely like this is really cool because, like, for some reason, like with these rivers, I don't think like they are water. They are connected most of the time to like the ocean and stuff. So like you don't think about them like having wildlife because you're like, oh, they're like shipping ports and where all the cruise lines go and whatnot. And it's really like, yeah, but there's things who live here. Like there are now upwards of 3,000 gray seals in the Thames itself. And I find that amazing.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Saving nature is super cool. I
Oh,
like
yeah,
it. I like
100%.
it when the folks do that. That this is an at to the U.S. government. I'm putting it on my Christmas list, and I'm sending it right to President Joe Biden.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't know if Joe Biden is as omnipotent as Santa is and all powerful. So I don't know how much he'll be able to grant that.
We'll see.
But I think it's worth trying. With that being said, Jake, do you have our next story?
I guess. Wait, hold up. Let me check my bag. Oh yes, here it is. Okay. So this guy turns old tires into beautiful cozy beds for 6,000 stray dogs and cats in Brazil. Wow. Although common sense dictates it's best to let sleeping dogs lie, nowhere is it written that they can't do so without a touch of panache. Is that how you pronounce that word?
I believe so.
Okay. And if the beds they lie in are a boost to the environment and can give comfort to homeless pets, so much the better. That's what the Brazilian artist, environmentalist, and animal lover, Sila Filho, was inspired to do after coming across a pile of used tires in his neighborhood a few years ago. Where some saw trash, Sila Filho saw a opportunity for upcycling treasure, making a world of difference to stray cats and dogs. After collecting the tires and giving them a thorough cleaning, Sila Filho put his artistic vision to work, fashioning personalized pet beds. Once the custom paint jobs were complete, with the addition of hand-sewn mattresses, the colorful, comfy costs were ready to be distributed to local shelters. To meet growing demand, he launched Come In Has Pets, and has since gone on to craft more than 6,000 beds.
I love it. It's adorable.
That is very nice.
I want to say this, props to him for doing that, because I've had ideas like this to like take junk and turn it into something. I wanted to turn like a tire rim, like the hubcaps, I guess they're called.
Yeah.
The part that goes on like the main center of the wheel. I wanted to turn one of those into a clock, but I don't have that kind of engineering knowledge to do that.
Yeah, clocks seem tough.
Yeah, but like this is cool. Like, and there's pictures here too, and they look so cute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like so most of the tire doesn't seem to be there anymore.
Oh no,
like he
still
kind
very
of cuts off the top.
tire.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like, it does look like he cut most of it off just to make it like a little bowl.
Yeah,
for the dog soup.
But it's so cute. They're painted in nice like pastel colors. They've got these polka dot.
They got
bedding.
names on them.
Yeah, and little dog bones. Aw,
yeah,
it's so cute.
That's pretty great.
And the fact that he's made over 6,000 of these things.
I guess it's a very simple design too.
True.
Might as well just keep going.
But also, where do you find 6,000 unused tires?
Oh, people throw their tires like.
Yeah. Okay, I guess you're right.
Like people just dump that stuff.
True. I'm bad at estimation, so I don't know how much 6,000 is,
especially if he's by like a junkyard or some scrap yard or something.
And
I
do want to say it looks like possibly he might have cut them in half and made 2 beds out of 1 tire, so that knocks it down to only 3,000 tires, which is a little better.
Yeah,
but like it's so cool. Like, and the other thing is, it's not like, oh, he's making these and then it's a mass listing them for sale. The primary focus of his mission here is to give them to homeless dogs and cats, and he's donating them to shelters. The thing that sticks out to me, other than how cute it is it's for a donation thing. This is not a, hey, I have a good idea, let me market it and profit off of it. He's doing this because like this is a sad doggy, and now sad doggy has a bed.
Yeah.
And so it's just cute all around. Although I must admit, it's probably very tiring work to make 6,000 of them.
It is probably a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't do it in one day or anything like that, but it does sound like a lot to it is an undertaking.
It would be even like awesome, like at the end of the article, it's just like, oh, by the way, he did all this in one day.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I mean, you described the process, and it doesn't seem like it's a walk in the park. for lack of a better word, but like, look, collecting tires, giving them a thorough cleaning, painting them, rinse and repeat 6,000 umpteen times. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, props to him for not like making 10 and being like, okay, that's enough. Making 600 times that amount and being like, let me do more. I don't know if I could do that. I'm going to be honest.
It must get tedious, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, like mind-numbing work isn't horrible.
Yeah.
Though I don't consider this as mind-numbing. You're right. Tedious is a much better word, or repetitive per se, which I don't mind that because it does become like automated, for lack of a better word, at some point. Like after the first few, you know exactly what to do and you kind of can just fly through them. But like to think about making 6,000, that number scares me.
Yeah, that's kind of just something that you can't even really like. I guess you could work towards it, but it's more
over the
more
course
just
of
like
a
you
long
just
time.
keep doing it, and eventually you just kind of look back and you're like, wow, yeah, I guess I did 6,000 of those.
I think that goes for a lot of things. Looking at a task, like an arduous task, and be like, oh boy, I have to do that, is a lot different than like doing it, not thinking about it, and then looking back and be like, oh, I did that said arduous task that I was putting off. I can't believe I did that. That was like no time at all.
Yeah, I feel that
Give
way
or
a
take
lot
what the
about
project
books,
Yeah, that's very true.
where it's like you see the book and it's like, oh man, that's a lot. How am I gonna do all that? And then you just sit down every once in a while and it adds up.
Huh. Yeah, that's very true. I literally know exactly what you're talking about because I was reading a 7-book series and they're all like upwards of 400 pages. I'm like, how am I going to get through those? And now I'm waiting for the last book to come out because I finished them. So
awesome.
yeah, that's exactly what you're talking about. But with that being said, we're going to take a short little break. And when we come back, we'll have Emily McCormack here to give us the newest on what's happening on Tunes on Tuesday this week on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. Stay tuned. And welcome back to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This is the Fall Tuesday Morning Buzz 2021 edition. This is November 23rd, 7:47 in the morning with your host, Kyle Pepitone, co-host Jacob Getz, sports/newscaster Campbell Donovan, and our segment host, drum roll please. Thank you, Campbell. Emily McCormack, here to give us the latest on Tunes on Tuesday. Emily, what is going on? What can we expect today?
First of all, create the process more enjoyable. Her music focuses on self-care and what makes you feel healthy, something she decided to attend to even more so during the pandemic. Krell also speaks about her methods of getting through writer's block, including writing down phrases or nice things she passes by, and utilizes this as musical inspiration. She also emphasizes the importance of making music that allows her audience to understand that they are never alone, and there are other people who are going through the same struggles. In this interview, she also touches on the idea of music streaming growing in popularity and the positive side of how accessible music is nowadays. Krell talks about her dream collaborations, recent favorite tunes, and her passions outside of her musical career. Krell is looking forward to going on tour in January 2022, making a stop in New York City's Mercury Lounge on January 16th. New music from May Krell this week and more tunes from Sir Sly, Grandson, 2 Feet, Tom Morello, Susto, Nick Country, Mick Fly, Yanaka, Arkellis, Jack Sampson, and many more. Tunes on Tuesday airs at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can listen in for new music and good vibes.
That's amazing. What I love and what I'm seeing as a constant theme through all these artists we have for Tunes on Tuesday is there's a big influx of like, well, I mean, this is what writing is mostly, but like there's that whole thing about like writing how you're feeling, like especially what Phantom Limb is talking about, that cathartic feeling of writing, because it really is. And I can speak from experience that like when things are hard, like writing is like writing down what you feel is like getting it out. It's now somewhere else that it can fester or whatever, and you don't have to think about it anymore. Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
totally understand that.
Okay.
I think with the pandemic, a lot of people like I'm gonna say like more so like towards the beginning, like during the thick of it, a lot of people felt very isolated.
Mhm.
And even though you were able to communicate with people like online through calls or whatever, you couldn't really express those emotions that you might have been feeling. Like you don't want to, first of all, a lot of people feel like that you don't want to burden other people with your personal sadness. And then when you're just kind of dealing with it by yourself, it's not a good thing to go through alone. So I feel like writing, no matter what kind of medium, if it's songwriting or poetry or screenwriting or whatever, it's good to kind of get those emotions out, especially during such an isolating time in
Yeah.
our lives.
And you bring up a good point too, because it's not just like songwriting. It's like you said, movies, screenplays and stuff too. Like a lot of movies are like somebody just dealing with something and they were able to fester it or manifest it into a cohesive story
Yeah, for
rather
sure.
than like, going on like a scribbly tirade of like writing down what you're feeling, which is how a lot of my stuff comes together. But like Jake too, you also write a lot of stuff. Is it a cathartic experience for you?
I guess. I suppose. One could say.
Okay, I'll take it. So what is it more like to you then? Writing?
I don't know. I feel like yeah, no, it is just kind of like word soup. But like emotional word soup.
I like it. I like it. Emotional
it all
word
comes
soup.
out.
Good soup.
If that's not the name of your first album,
Yeah, emotional word soup.
I don't really have a threat here, but like I strongly recommend that should be a contender for your first album name.
I'll put it on the list.
If you don't, I'll take it.
Nah.
But yeah, it's so cool. And like to see all these people talk about like, hey, here's what I'm feeling. And guess what? I'm not the only one, because a whole big point of music is like, it's a universal language almost, like tone of voice, lyrics, the music behind it. It all is used most of the time to convey emotion and feelings, and the cathartic experience that music really is nice because what one person is feeling can affect, I don't know, whatever 100,000 to millions of listeners they have. And I'm sure none of you are strangers to that, because if there was a pie chart of why people listen to music, I'd say like a good quarter or more of it would be catharsis, feelings, like getting emotions out. And then there'd be a little slice of the pie for like the EDM music, just like to have a good time. And then I don't know, the 20 or so % left, fill in what you want. But that's my pie chart of music, and I'm sure it's very similar to you, right? Because I'm sure you all listen to music, obviously not 100% of the time, but for a good portion, to like, because you relate to what the artist or band is saying, and it helps you with what you're doing in life.
I only listen to 100 gecs, and I just I just do it to just jam out.
Okay, Campbell, Emily.
I think my writing is based more on like what like I feel like on a certain day, like I know like I'm kind of a music person at times, but like most of my writing comes like my experience and like sports and stuff. But I mean, like when I listen to music, I think it's a way for me like to escape, like if I'm having like a tough day or I'm having like a struggle with something. But I think like what Emily said, like people are just stuck remotely, not knowing what to do, and they have to think of stuff to do that they would normally do outside of their home or outside in the near vicinity with other people, and they couldn't do that. So they had to figure out a way to do their tasks individually and collaborate with other people to get their work done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's exactly like you said, like you write from experience, you write what you're feeling, and it's amazing what can come out of it. And Jake, I'm sorry I totally ignored you with your 100 guest comment. I know you listen to other stuff as well.
Yeah.
Right. I'm assuming you listen to other stuff. as well.
No, literally just Andre Gex
Okay.
and sometimes some Charlie XCX.
Okay.
Well,
That's
I
fine.
mean,
I mean, go. You know,
I
offer what
listened
you like.
last week. I listened to the 10-minute version of All Too Well, and I had my own opinion on
Taylor,
it.
got it. It
Yeah,
took me a minute. Sorry.
yes, Taylor. I had my own opinion on it, and I'll say this now. My cousin did not like it, and she jokingly threatened to block me on social media.
Oh boy, we're gonna have to hear more about. We have a Taylor story coming up, so save the story for that.
I can't wait to hear the whole spiel of the whole updated version of the album. I can't wait to provide my opinion on it, but we'll save that for later.
Save it for later. Emily, you too. Writing and like music for like emotional listening, right?
Yeah. I mean, Campbell brought up a really important word, and that's escaping. I thought, during the pandemic, one of my favorite albums that came out last year is by Glass Animals, and they have a song called It's Also Incredibly Loud. And I remember when that song came out, I literally just laid on my bed for a couple minutes with headphones all the way up, and I listened to that song, and I felt like I was transformed to a different place. And I felt like that was really important because, I was just kind of stuck in my room for a lot last summer because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I feel like music in itself is a really great form of communication, in the sense of, there's a lot of artists that, I missed out on their concerts because they were canceled and all that stuff. The band Palais Royale, I followed very closely. I was supposed to see them in May, and they came out with an album at the end of May. And, they constantly were posting like teasers and talking about the new album and their process. And then it finally came out, and I listened to it the whole summer. And it was really cool. I'd say that's one of the first albums where I kind of felt like really connected with the artists, because I was able to see into, their songwriting process and the process of production and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like it was really great because they had a way of communicating with their fans that was different from being with them in person. Because when, in person is not an option, you go to the next best thing.
Very true. And speaking of concerts, May Krell is going on tour early next year, and a lot of artists are too. Like we've seen touring come back this year, more so in the later half, obviously, but a lot of bands are getting back out there, traveling and playing different places. What are some of the what are they called? Bands or artists that you're looking to see? I already know Jake's answer. I'm sure he's thrilled to see. What was the band again?
I forget. I want to see, what bands do I want to see? I don't know.
Really? Are you messing with me, or do you just really like not know who you want to see?
No, nothing.
Really? Not even 100 gex?
I guess. I guess it'd be cool.
Okay. I can't tell if he's messing with me or not. Campbell, Emily, what about you?
Honestly, if I wanted to be a good cousin in my family, I would give my cousin's Taylor Swift tickets if she decides to go on tour. But
I can't imagine she wouldn't.
well, I mean, honestly, if she decides to release an album during the summertime and then she releases her version of Red, so I obviously would think that she would go on tour in the upcoming year.
Wait, she had an original album
Yeah,
out
she had
this
an
year
original
too?
album that was, I think it was her Fearless album, I think. Then she re-released Red, and she added a ton of new songs, like a ton of songs that didn't make the original
Vault
album.
songs.
So yeah, and I mean, if I wanted to go see some, I honestly don't know if I want, because I've never really been to a concert before. So I'm not really sure if I really want to go to a concert tour.
Okay.
I'm
We need
very
to change
optimistic,
that.
Yeah.
but yeah.
And Emily?
Concerts are very epic.
There.
I cannot wait. I'm going to see Youngblood at Palais Royale
Oh, geez. Have fun with that.
February. It's gonna be awesome. My family will be fighting for 21 Pilots tickets later today. They're gonna be around in August. Sorry, I know how you feel about more mainstream artists, but
Oh,
I
no,
gotta
no.
go.
21 Pilots are great.
It's gotta
21
happen.
Pilots
It's gotta
are sick.
happen. I'm gonna go see AJR in May. Excited for that. Haven't seen them before. Thinking about Falling in Reverse tour. I don't know how.
Wait, who's AJR?
AJR.
The band.
Dear
AJR.
Winter, I hope you.
That
I don't know. don't-
Abbreviated for something, or am I
It's
just
their-
incredibly stupid?
No,
Oh no,
they're
it's
just
called their
called
band is called
AJR.
AJR. It's
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's
Not
their
very
first
creative.
their first initials.
Got
abbreviated
it.
AJR.
For
Yeah.
some reason, I was thinking All American Rejects.
Oh.
which is not even close.
Oh,
They're the
wow.
one with like the
Don't
really.
get me started with All American Rejects. I love that band so much.
Yeah, okay. So I just never heard. I am incredibly stupid. I just
Oh
never heard of them
no, no, you're fine.
before. No, don't
Yeah, how
try
dare
to
you
deny
not
it.
know
No,
about
Kyle.
AJR, Kyle? This is.
I will not judge you based off of not knowing AJR.
But
I will
yes,
judge
falling
you
in
off of
reverse
knowing
too seems
AJR.
pretty
Yeah, this is me telling my mom, "Hi, I want to go.
cool.
Want to come with me?"
It's okay. I
She
still love.
doesn't.
I bet none of you can guess the two bands that are on the top of my list that I
What?
see.
Ice
Slipknot?
Nine Kills.
Yes.
What?
And what's the other one you like?
AJR clearly.
I'm one for two.
I was gonna
know it,
say
but-
I said Slipknot,
Ice
right?
Nine.
That's gotta be
Slipknot.
Slipknot would be cool.
Slipknot.
I don't know if they're on the top of my list, only because I'm brittle and would not survive a mosh pit.
Oh man, a Slipknot mosh pit. Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
I go to emo shows and like emo shows are like we mosh, but like there's not like it's not like a hardcore moshing. It's like a nice little hug,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
you know.
Nah.
A nice little hug.
It's
We're
like-
let's all be
it's like-
sad together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like but
Yeah, no, I've gone to Warped and there's like, mosh pits there. I stayed on the outside of that. I don't want to get
mosh
Smart
pits are
move.
so fun.
stomped on by
If you ever see a
Sleeping with
mosh pit,
Sirens
just jump
crowd.
right in there. Don't think about Travis Scott. Just jump on
Ooh.
it.
Oh, okay.
Oh whoa.
maybe
No,
maybe a little too soon.
moshing.
Maybe
Sorry.
But with
Fuck.
that being said, here on 90.3 WMSC
That might have been
Upper Montclair, we'll take a short break and we will continue on to hour 2 of the Morning Buzz, where we get into the fun stories. So stay tuned for that. And welcome back to the Morning Buzz. This is the second hour of the show. Congratulations. You made it again to the second hour. That deserves a round of applause.
You did it. Congratulations.
Yeah, I remembered we have sound effects. Sorry. I'm your host, Kyle Pepitone, here with my co-host, Jacob Getz, and our sportscaster / newscaster, Campbell Donovan. And in the second half of the show, as always, we have the fun stories. And today we're going to be covering Taylor Swift, Adele, and teens and computer science. Can you tell me which one of them is not like the other two?
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
I don't
hard
know.
one.
Taylor Swift and Adele, they're
Yeah,
not really the
I
same
know.
style, you know?
But before any of that, once again, we have Campbell Donovan here to give us both the news and the sportscast. Campbell, with the news, what's going on in the world?
Well, after that slow clap, I forgot that we did have sound effects. So now time for your 8 a.m. newscast. My name is Cameron Donovan. On this chilly Tuesday, join you live on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. From the Montclarian, MSC held an in-person and online meeting to acknowledge native land. Montclair State President Jonathan Capel started the meeting talking about Indigenous people, saying, quote, one of the most central issues that we have to face as a country, one element of the past is that we have to reconcile ourselves with genocide of Indigenous Americans that is actually a foundational element of this country. The genocide of cultural and literal Native Americans is one aspect of our country that is shamefully papered over, end quote. According to NJ.com, a Burlington County man admitted his role in a GoFundMe scam that involved his then girlfriend in a lie about a helpful homeless veteran. The man and his girlfriend wound up securing $400,000 from online donors. In national news, AP News says Kyle Rittenhouse told Fox News that his case was not a matter of race. Rittenhouse stated, quote, this case has nothing to do with race. It had never had anything to do with race, excuse me. It had to do with the right to self-defense, end quote. More on that later that we discussed earlier. Now for the weather. On this Tuesday, we are looking at a high of 44 and a low of 31. It is currently a chilly 31 degrees, so be sure to bundle up with their heavy winter-esque clothing. The air quality is good and the humidity is at around 60%. Today will be nice and sunny with that chilly air. This has been your 8 a.m. newscast. Back to you, Kyle, so you can segue back to me in 2 seconds.
You called it exactly. Thank you, Campbell. And here we have Campbell Donovan with the Sportscast. Campbell, what's going on in the world of sports?
Well, what's going on in the world of sports? Now time for your 8 a.m. sportscast. The Monday Night Football was crazy on the part of Tampa Bay, in that the Bucks absolutely demolished the New York Football Giants 20-30. The GOAT Tom Brady had himself a night. Well, basketball now. LeBron James has been suspended for 1 game after his ejection during a scrum against the Detroit Pistons. James will not play tonight for the first time in his career. Well, I guess the New York Knicks. So MSG will be rocking in home favor of the Knicks, as the team will not be playing tonight. And last night, the Brooklyn Nets defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 117-112. Good news for Devils fans. Jack Hughes is back on the ice for the Devils, participating in a non-contact gray jersey, but he's back on the ice after his shoulder injury earlier in the season. Tonight, Montclair State women's and men's basketball will be on the road tonight in Kane as they take on the Cougars in a back-to-back matinee. The Hall of Fame ballot has been announced. First-time ballot includes David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, and a bunch of more players. And for the last time on the ballot, we will have Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds, who were on their last year on the ballot. And on this day, wishing Red Sox legend and pitcher Louis Tiant a happy 81st birthday. This has been your 8 a.m. sportscast here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, the voice of Montclair State University. Back to you, Kyle.
Thank you, Campbell. And now we move into the fun stories today. Campbell, earlier in the show, about like 10 minutes ago, you talked about Taylor Swift and a 10-minute version of All Too Well. Am I correct?
Yes.
Well, have I got news for you? As according to Billboard.com, Taylor Swift's All Too Well, parentheses, Taylor's version, soars in at #1 on Billboard Hot 100. Taylor Swift blasts in at #1 on the Billboard Top 100 Songs chart with All Too Well, parentheses, Taylor's version. The song, long considered to be a classic among her catalog, is from her new re-recorded LP, Red, parentheses, Taylor's version, which concurrently launches at #1 on the Billboard 200 albums chart. All Too Well, parentheses, Taylor version, you get the point at this point, was released on Red, parentheses, Taylor's version, November 12th on Republic Records via 2 versions on the set. It's 5-minute, 29-second original and a 10-minute, 13-second version, both of which are combined into one listing on the Billboard charts. Swift first released her song on her 2012 album Red, not Taylor's version apparently, with the version having spent a week on the Hot 100 at number 80 and the ranking dated on November 10th of 2012. With the updated recording, Swift soars her 8 Hot 100 #1. The Hot 100 blends all genre US streaming, official audio and official video, radio airplay, and sales data. All charts are updated on Billboard.com. I mean, that's cool and all, but Jake, like you say with your takes on mainstream artists, and as Tara said, I believe last week on the Buzz, I don't know her exact words, but it was something along the lines of like, who cares?
Yeah.
I could care less right now because, I mean, I listened to the song and it was catchy, but, you know, Taylor Swift fans, they're very attached to the artist and her work and
well, I mean, you
her
could say that
background and stuff.
to an
but-
extent. That could be anyone.
Yeah.
You could take any band and be like, okay, there's a section of people that are like die hard and will monitor every breath they take. But
Wait, can I say something that might be controversial?
go ahead, make sure to clarify that it's your opinion and not
Yes,
that of
it
the
is my
station.
opinion and not that of the station. Could you imagine if WMSC had like an official take on like a Taylor Swift song?
Oh,
like
wait,
this
That's
is
what
this is
we
what
get
the
shut
Taylor
down
thing.
because we're saying controversial Taylor opinions.
Yeah. But basically, I listened to All Too Well. I wasn't familiar with it. Like, I don't remember it from like the original album. So this was the first time I listened. I didn't listen to the 10-minute version because I have a life.
No, you only listen to the 5-minute one.
Yeah, and I was like, this kind of sounds just like Fearless, like a worse Fearless.
What? No, Fearless
Okay.
is a lot more.
I have an opinion.
Or like,
Not
I don't know.
essential.
Maybe it
I-
wasn't Fearless. But
So
there was another
All Too Well is
song.
kind of like back of my mind, vaguely there, but isn't it a much slower song? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It sounded
very
a lot like another one of her songs to me, and I'm pretty sure it was Fearless.
well, I mean, it is a
but
Taylor Swift song, so it might sound similar to
But, like,
other
similar,
Taylor Swift
like,
songs.
melody.
Yeah, it's possible. I am not. I don't usually breathe and bleed Taylor Swift, so like I wouldn't know entirely, but like
Kyle.
I don't know where this comment is going.
Kyle.
Yeah.
I have an opinion. Not
Please go ahead.
stations.
Okay, please go ahead.
My thought of the song. I thought the song was good. I did not think it was fantastic. That's my opinion.
That's fair.
I will get ridiculed at Thanksgiving dinner, but I don't care. I don't care at all.
You might want to start running now. We got some diehard Taylor fans in the station, and they come in about 9 o'clock. So make sure I'm out of here by then.
I mean, honestly, I'll be first in the Thanksgiving table, and I will provide my opinions there. So, but like they said, taxes and other stuff that we don't talk about, but
Yeah.
music maybe another thing.
See, here's my thing. So the article says when it first released, it only peaked at 80, and now that it re-released, it peaked at number 1. Are you guys familiar with when it comes to YouTube with the term re-upload?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it seems like. And yes, I really can't say anything. Oh, she's just releasing the same album so people will buy it again. Like, obviously, yes, she's doing it so she owns the rights to the music, and that's amazing. Music, I believe the term is music litigation.
Yeah.
This is big for that. But with that being said, I feel like it shouldn't even get the chance to chart because there's nothing new about it.
I mean,
Right? It's just the same song.
I mean, it's the same song, but it's her version of the song.
And also,
And
I
then
guess
she's
like
adding more.
From a
It is
legal
being
standpoint,
made.
I understand that, but the original was also her version of the song, and she's the one who made it.
well, an oversight on it,
Oh, okay,
And,
that I don't. But once again, it's very similar to just.
and it's
what
also
it-
being produced now, so it is still being like it is still a product of now.
That is true, but it's very similar, and I'm not big on what the music industry is. I focus on music, not the business or whatever behind it, but it feels very similar to what a band will do when they remaster an album.
Yeah, which is just something that they do a lot, right? So like,
Right. So it's just like, great, like you own your music, Taylor. That's amazing. But I feel like you're taking away spots on the charts for other bands, specifically smaller, even more local
I
bands.
mean, come on, if she wasn't doing it, you think it'd go to like your super cool band from Minnesota or whatever, like
No, but there'd be a better
know.
chance, is what I'm saying.
I guess I don't know.
It is hard. Yeah, like the chances of it going to a smaller band, let's say we knock Taylor off, and the chances of it going to another band are astronomical, but there's still a chance there. And even with like Taylor is huge. And yes, while I'm saying it might not go to a smaller band, maybe just starting out with their first single, there are still other artists and bands that aren't at the level of Taylor Swift that have a better shot of getting on the charts.
Mhm.
Does any of this make sense?
Well, kind of, because I think like you're like the way that you're saying it, because like how like huge her fan base is, and how much she invests popularity of her popularity in general, how mainstream she is, and how like her songs will peak in the top 10s and the top 20s, and then her songs will stay at number 1 for a number of weeks, and that generates more income and more value for her.
Right. It's just I'm sorry, but it's not like, it doesn't seem fair. Like, we know Taylor is gonna get on the charts. On Spotify alone, she has upwards of 55 million monthly listeners. Now take a band with like only a million or like 500,000 that are still well known, or a band or artist that are still well known but don't have nearly that many. It feels like they're being knocked off the charts for something that came out originally 9 years ago. Right? Am I wrong here? Am I fighting a losing battle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you kind of are, because like I was like
It's
thinking
just
in
like,
my
what you
head,
gonna do? You
because
know?
like I was thinking how Bruno Mars just
Mhm.
like got into like this like 2-person band, I guess
The
you'd say.
Silk Sonic.
So Sonic, and his they made their album and they're like top of the charts, and now here comes Taylor Swift re-releasing her version of Red, and it's like, oh my goodness, Taylor Swift's releasing her music, adding new songs, and now she's #1 in the charts. I guess, I mean, I'm trying to put that in that perspective,
I get it.
because I don't,
All
I
right,
actually,
even Kenny disagrees with me.
No.
I honestly
All right.
don't know. I don't.
Well, with Silk Sonic, that's an entirely original album.
Yeah.
With Taylor's, it's 9 out of 30 songs that are new.
Stop hating, Kyle. Honestly.
I'm not okay.
Gosh,
you know
we
what?
get it. You hate Taylor Swift.
I don't know.
You know,
No, you're
Kyle,
totally
Kyle,
misconstruing my
Kyle.
point.
Kyle, I agree with you. I do not like. I don't hate Taylor Swift. It's just like her music like now is just like her stuff, but it's like the way like it's being portrayed. It's like
Yeah.
now it's like a whole different spectrum than when it was 9-10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna play myself off right now. And we're going to take a quick break. Man, that sound effect is a lot longer than I thought. They really draw that one out. But with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have some more talk, some involving music and some involving computer science. So stay tuned for that. Good morning and welcome back to the morning.
The morning bonk.
The morning bonk. I am your host, Kyle Pepitone, co-host Jacob Getz, and our sports/newscaster, Campbell Donovan, and the ghost of Kenny is yelling at me for stealing the morning bonk. Although I might be wrong, but I thought I came up with it first. But if I didn't, credit for the joke goes to Kenny. He's our producer. He does more than you can imagine. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to miss him when he leaves. But that's a news story for another time.
Oh yeah.
Right now.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to get morning bunked for the last time.
Don't tell Kenny, but we should do a special show for him on his last day.
No.
Jake, take it away.
Okay. You didn't hear that. Okay. All you're thinking about, clear your mind. Just think about how teens believe girls aren't interested in computer science, according to a study. Children as young as age 6, develop ideas that girls are less interested than boys in computer science and engineering. These are stereotypes that can extend into the late teens and contribute to a gender gap in STEM college courses and related careers. New research from the University of Houston and the University of Washington, published Monday in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, explores the gender-based beliefs young children and teens hold about interest in STEM fields. The majority of children believe girls are less interested than boys in computer science and engineering. The study's lead author said, quote, "Gender interest stereotypes that STEM is for boys begins in grade school, and by the time they reach high school, many girls have made their decision not to pursue degrees in computer science and engineering because they feel they don't belong." As recently as 2019, national statistics reveal that women are underrepresented in some popular and lucrative STEM careers. United States Census Bureau statistics show that only about 25% of computer scientists and 15% of engineers were women.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's like not so much drilled into their head, but like planted in their head from such a young age, and it just grows into that. Yeah, it's not for me is sad because like not like, yeah, like STEM, like that's not fair. And that applies, that means that applies to anything, any type of job or what have you, field of education, hobbies, whatever, that it can be affected by external sources or external like stimuli, having the whole like, yeah, we're going to give you the idea that this isn't for you and just watch it grow over the years so we can kind of like tell you what you should be doing.
Yeah, unfortunately, these stereotypes are really pervasive.
Yeah.
And they kind of just like, they creep in media, you see it a lot. And it's unfortunate because it does have a very real world effect.
Right. But a good thing is like, especially now's time, we're really working on fixing that. And, like there's a lot of people going out there to like try and promoting STEM education and going into the STEM field, especially specifically for young girls and, teenagers and stuff like that, because like you said in the article, it is a thing. Like they are underrepresented because they just don't believe, by the time they are like choosing their careers, they don't believe like this is meant for me. And it is a sad thing to see, especially from a science field, because we don't see that a lot. Like a lot of other job fields are pretty balanced in terms of gender representation, but STEM, science fields and STEM overall, seem to be the one that has the biggest gap between the people working there. And it is sad to see. I don't know how many times I've said sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah. I don't have a thesaurus on me, so I can't replace the word sad, but you understand what I'm saying.
We should keep a thesaurus here.
I feel like
little dictionary.
I feel like that would be a lot of dead air while we wait for somebody to find the word.
A good synonym for sad.
Yeah, maybe like an app, but like having a physical thesaurus and all you just hear is whoosh, 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 as they try to flip through the pages is maybe not the best idea, but you can bring it up with the SMT and see what they say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully this is something we can work on more so in the future and like get that more representation, because even when me and you, Jake, were talking to David Rush, he's not doing world records just to do them. He's doing them to promote that if you put your mind to it, you can do anything, specifically STEM education.
Yeah. And that's something that should go out to everyone.
Yeah. So and it's a perfect way. His philosophy, for lack of a better word, is one of the best ways to combat this. Like, oh, you're from a young age, you're taught to believe that STEM isn't for you. How about you try putting your mind to it? And it's just like, oh yeah, okay. Well, that first problem is now gone. I can do anything within reason, of course. And that it does feel like the polar opposite. What David Rush was saying when we interviewed him feels like the polar opposite to what I'm reading in this article, where it's like from the youngest age, yeah, you're told you can't believe things, and you have that mentality throughout your life, and it starts to affect what you do. And then David Rush is like, yeah, but that can work in a positive way. Yeah. If you believe you can do it, then that'll manifest throughout your life, and then you'll be much better off for it. Mm-hmm. And just from a psychological standpoint, that is amazing.
No, yeah, that interview was so cool.
Yeah. Everything he has to say was amazing. Once again, David Rush, if you're listening, thank you. That was one of the best interviews I ever did for this station. But moving on, we have more news from Adele, where she got, according to the BBC, she got Spotify to take the shuffle button off of all her album pages. No, I'm sorry, not all of her album pages, off of all album pages. Adele has persuaded. Sorry, go ahead.
Like all the album pages?
That's what the article claims. Let's see what it has to say. Adele has persuaded Spotify to take the shuffle button off of all album pages so tracks play in the artist order. The singer tweeted, quote, "We don't create albums with so much care and thought into our track listing for no reason. Our art tells a story, and our stories should be listened to as we intended them. Thank you, Spotify, for listening," end quote. The streaming service replied, quote, "Anything for you," end quote. A statement later held their new premium feature to make the play button default, to make play the button. Sorry.
You'll get it.
Words are just not there. That's not true. To make play the default button on all albums, end quote. A Spotify spokesperson said they were excited to be rolling out this new feature, which was long requested by both users and artists. The spokesperson said Spotify users could still choose to shuffle an album, but the system would default to playing the tracks in the artist's chosen order. Okay, big question. Number one, if this was long requested by users and artists alike, why did it take Adele to finally have Spotify say, you know what? Let's do it.
I don't know. Adele's got a pull.
I guess, but like that strong, like above a multitude of artists and users alike. I mean, sure, I guess. And then it feels like kind of half-hearted. That's like, yeah, you can still shuffle them if you want. It's just going to default to playing in order.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing, especially for like albums. Like for a playlist, I could see it being on shuffle, but
yeah,
the fact that it defaulted to shuffle for an album is kind of silly.
Is weird. I mean, it's not that hard to literally just click the first track and have it play through, but you know, I get it. The big green button is enticing.
Yeah.
But I love this. I am a little annoyed. I didn't think about this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not one of the users who was campaigning for this, only because it never crossed my mind that it could be something to be campaigned for. Because I hate every time I have to mention this, but listening to albums is a dying art. And it's unfortunate. We live in a very single culture where everything is focused on one single after another, and albums are just kind of like, eh. Mm-hmm. And as a graphic designer, I will say, I think there's a positive in singles because you can have more album art and it gives you more chances to be creative. But very often, or very rare, do artists do that. Usually they'll just use the album cover throughout all their singles.
I like it when they have separate single things. It's always cool. It adds more to the kind of oeuvre of the album.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't like it when it's just a single with no intention to be anywhere else.
I think that's fine. I don't know.
It's fine in rarity. Like you it's been a long time and you have this new song you want to put out. But when it's your entire career, I don't know. Just there's something about albums that I like, especially what Adele was saying. It tells a story. You can't, obviously you can tell a story with one song, but when you have a list of songs, you can tell a much more expansive story.
Yeah, it's a lot more it's a bigger work.
Yeah. And cohesive too is a good word to use. And I will say this, there's nothing I love more when I'm listening to an album and one song bleeds into another, no break. That is beautiful. I love it. And Adele's right, the shuffle will take away from that because, you know, you're not going to get the same song back to back. And if you listen to albums in order, you get accidental things like We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions are constantly played back to back on the radio, only because They just happened to be one after each other on the album. They weren't ever intended by Queen, by the way. They weren't ever intended to be played the same. They just were like, all right, we believe this is the best order of songs for this album. Oh, we created probably one of the greatest things in classic rock history.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I love it. And although I don't listen to much Adele, and I'm very guilty of being part of the streaming culture, I do appreciate it when artists will not immediately put up an album on streaming and only release it physically, because there's something to be said about a physical copy of an album that just kind of makes it better.
I think it's definitely nice having the physical copy. It's just cool to just have something, especially if it's like a smaller artist and you're supporting them.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
I don't know, kind of gatekeeping it to the physical. That's just not fun for me.
Right. Well, I don't know about, like, obviously not gatekeeping it, but just waiting a little bit to release it on streaming. Like, release the album and then like give it like 3 or 6 months and then put it on streaming.
Oh my God. That would be awful, dude.
Okay.
Like, I
mean,
don't
I've
know.
never put out anything before en masse. So I don't know.
Oh man, especially if it was like a big art. Could you imagine if it was just
Well,
like,
that's
you need to
exactly
buy a vinyl or a CD if
well,
you want
that's
to hear
exactly what Adele did
it? Wow.
with her album 25.
And I guess that's why I haven't heard it yet.
Well, I mean, it's so according to the BBC article, quote, this marked a change from her last album 25, which could only be bought physically or downloaded when it released in November 2015. It became the fastest selling album in British history, shifting more than 800,000 copies in the first week. It was not until June 2016 that it was made available on streaming sites such as Spotify, Apple Music, and Tidal, end quote. So, I mean, say what you will, I'm about big artists gatekeeping, like you said, their album from streaming services, but apparently it did her pretty well to do that.
Yeah, if it works.
So yeah, but I do understand what you're saying. Like, we live in a very digital age, more so a streaming age, and like Emily was mentioning earlier, we're going into a much more streaming culture, and so like barring it from streaming upon immediate release is bound to hurt more smaller artists than it is to help. Because let's face it, Adele is huge, probably somewhere on the same level as Taylor Swift. So she could have said, you have to climb Mount Everest if you want to hear the album, and you'd still get an influx of people going to do it. But like, if a smaller artist did that, people would probably wait, and it would probably hurt the numbers.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we have more news on Adele.
Oh, geez. Part 2.
Jake,
Electric
would you like to
Boogaloo.
take it away?
Yes. You got an Adele story now. It's my turn.
Yep.
A TV host flew 10,000 miles for an exclusive interview with Adele, only to have it canceled after he said he hadn't listened to her new album. See? That's what I'm talking about. How is he supposed to get a vinyl? Like, get a vinyl player on the plane? Ugh. Okay, so an Australian TV host landed an exclusive interview with Adele, but the footage was withheld after he told her that he hadn't listened to her new album, 30. Matthew Doran, the host of Channel 7's The Weekend Sunrise Show, flew to London from Sydney, a journey of about 10,000 miles, on November 4th to interview Adele in her only album interview with an Australian outlet. During the interview, when asked by Adele what he thought of the new album, Doran said he hadn't listened to it yet, and the singer was offended. The interview ran to completion, but Sony, who owns Adele's music, later told Channel 7 that it was withholding rights to the interview footage as a result of Doran's oversight. That's kind of iconic. Can you imagine how awkward that must have been? Like, oh, so what do you think of my album? It's like,
You're what? You put it on an album? I didn't even know. Okay, you flew 10,000 miles.
Yeah. What were you doing all that time?
I don't
dude?
know I don't know how fast a plane goes. I'm not going to calculate the time of that flight, but you didn't have an hour to just like go through it once,
Yeah, just
or even look up
take
the
a
cliff
listen.
notes of it.
or even like any of the singles or like
Uh,
come on, dude.
That is
That's
like
just bad reporting.
rule number one: be prepared.
Yeah.
Like that is like, okay, like yes, be prepared for an interview and stuff. And if you're doing a music interview, the easiest way to at least have a base knowledge is listen to the artist you're interviewing,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. It's so bizarre. I can't believe
I'm not crazy in saying this, right?
no, that's pretty important. You think like even if it was a matter of like the physical copies like not being like it's not on streaming.
It's not even that. This one is on streaming.
Oh, this one. Wow.
Yeah,
No excuse.
not at all. How?
That's tough.
The first thing we learn here at WMSC is always be prepared. Well, the first thing is we get what we put into it. The second thing is when we're doing interviews and stuff, be prepared. And to just be like, okay, even that, just like fake your way through it. Don't openly admit you haven't heard it. Right?
Yeah, maybe even like I don't know.
Campbell, what are your thoughts on this?
Always be prepared to know what your interviewee wants, I guess you would say, but
Yeah.
also take some notes, listen to their product, watch their product, be invested in their product. I mean, that's rule number one of ethics.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to ask the interview questions about anything, but if they ask you what they think, what your thoughts are, you have to be able to answer that too.
Yeah. And an interview goes two ways. You have to be prepared to be interviewed yourself.
Make it a conversation, please. That's number one.
Exactly.
Just make it a conversation. The person you're having a conversation.
But on the other hand, to defend this guy to an extent, Adele being offended that he didn't listen to an album, I don't know about that. Feels like a bit of an overreaction. Curious that you wouldn't listen to my album knowing that you're going to interview me. I understand. Outright offended? I don't know.
Coming over, trying to
I think
talking to her about this album and making like I don't know, making it a whole thing and making money off of covering her album.
Yeah.
Least you could do is listen to it.
Yeah. I just feel offended feels like the wrong word. My if that happened to me, if I put out an album and let's say, Jake, you were interviewing me for, I don't know, let's make up some show called Tunes on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Which
But
I don't
that's a
know,
real show.
airs at, let's say 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern time on WMSC, just hypothetical off the top of my head. And you said, and I asked you, what did you think about my new album? And you just outright admitted, first of all, I don't know why you would do that, but you just outright admitted you
can't
didn't hear
lie
it.
at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't be like, how dare you not listen to my album? I'd be like, how didn't you listen to my album knowing you were interviewing me? That would
Yeah.
be my reaction. But then again, I'm not worth half my
And
weight
also,
in gold.
yeah,
So
it is kind of offensive a little bit. On like
it, I don't know about
is kind
offensive.
of-
It's definitely disrespectful.
it's a subtle diss, you know?
Yeah.
It's like oh yeah, I didn't listen to it. Like it's like dang.
I know
Okay.
more about you. I don't have to come prepared to interview you. I'm bigger than you. That's what it feels like. It feels
Yeah.
disrespectful more than offensive, but I get what you're saying.
Aren't those like kind of synonyms?
To an extent, not entirely, but they're very close in meeting. So yes, I understand what you're saying, but looking at it from that perspective, it comes off as I'm better than you. I don't need to prepare to interview you.
No.
So yeah, I'd be a little offended actually. I'll admit I was just trying to defend him in some aspect, but this is my second losing battle of the show.
Yeah.
I'm throwing in my white
Keep
flag.
trying.
Ah,
All right, now we're going to Pittsburgh, right?
yes, take it away. I'm done talking. You're not gonna hear another word out of me. That's
Okay.
a lie.
That's if you
Not-
make me talk.
Not in a pickle any longer. Giant ornament returned to Pittsburgh. The pickle didn't pop. After the ornament that Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership tried last year to install deflated, there is a new one to take its place. Thought to be the world's largest pickle ornament, it was unveiled on Thursday in downtown Pittsburgh. It's located in the EQT Plaza at 625 Liberty Ave. The pickle was grown as a gift from the Kraft Heinz to celebrate Heinz' hometown roots, according to the PDP, which is inviting visitors to take a photo with the pickle and post it on social media via hashtag pickle ornament PGH. The pickle represents a German American holiday tradition of hiding a pickle-shaped ornament on a family Christmas tree. The first person to find the pickle on Christmas morning receives an extra present or a year of good luck. Hooper said that this pickle should give the entire city good luck, since you really can't miss it.
Okay. So I looked at the article before you started reading, and yeah, I didn't expect to see an actual inflatable pickle ornament. I just thought this pickle didn't pop was like a turn of phrase I've never heard before.
Nope, it's a pickle ornament.
Yep,
It's a big pickle.
It is a pickle ornament. And the whole I like the whole idea of like hiding one of them, like an ornament on the tree, and whoever gets it wins.
That is kind of cute.
That's nice.
But I feel like that's not the biggest, like as far as scavenger hunts goes, it's a little very contained, very small.
I mean, you're
very quick game.
You're searching green on green, so
I guess that's true.
There's some challenge to it, but also you're
But
right.
if
It's not like
pickle, I feel like that will stand out.
I don't know. I've never see. I would too, as pickles are usually not associated with being on Christmas trees.
Or just Christmas at all.
Yeah,
Like
I
pickles
don't
and
think
Christmas are kind of like a weird
Christmas,
mix of vibes
Santa
in my
Claus,
head.
pickles.
Like,
It's
I don't
weird.
know. We've like makes me kind of uncomfortable, to be honest.
Yeah. But I think now, just to spice up my front yard a little bit, is that worthy of a pun intended or no?
No, that's
Because pickle's not really a spice, right?
no.
Yeah.
I would say
Just to
sour, kind of.
yeah. To mix up the decorations on my front lawn, I might get a giant inflatable Christmas pickle now. You know,
That'd be
nothing
really
says
cool.
holiday cheer like a bread and butter pickle.
And you
Which-
can put like a Santa hat on it.
Why? But
A pickle
why?
with a Santa hat.
Why
that'd be
would you
sick.
make a big deal out of it?
That was good.
Thank you.
That was
thank
good.
you. I'm here all day.
I will say though, this is my opinion. Bread and butter are the best pickles.
Honestly, I have no idea what
What?
that means.
The chip ones.
The
Oh,
chip.
Yeah.
what?
I don't know. I'm not a pickle connoisseur,
I'm so confused.
but I like the chip pickles better than the full pickles.
Do you like fried pickles?
I don't think I've ever had fried pickles.
You haven't had fried pickles?
No.
Kyle, they're the best thing ever.
Huh.
I'm very skeptical of fried pickles. I'll have to try them someday. I think I've I don't think I have.
Yeah, I don't think I have either, but they do sound interesting. But yes,
It's just sliced up pickles, deep fried.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I've
just
had
it.
cooked pickles before, not deep fried though. Okay. Sounds cool. So yeah, Pittsburgh now has a giant inflatable pickle, and I kind of want to know if I can get one for my front lawn.
Yeah.
I think we got
You should call
Discord
them.
chat waking up today.
Yep.
A lot of pickle talk. A lot of sketchy.
Were you guys here
business.
last week, or was this on? I forget what day I mentioned this, but there's a house where I live that always decorates these two skeletons on a weekly basis in their front yard. Were you guys
Oh,
here for that or
geez.
no?
No.
Okay, so long story short, there's this guy who lives on like an intersection, and what they do is they have these two skeletons, and like every week or two, they'll like put them in different seasonal outfits and stuff. And now I'm wondering, I might do that with this pickle, like dress it up in different holiday robes, like throw a Santa hat on it, maybe a New Year's sash when January comes along. Might be a good idea, right? Nothing says holiday spirit like what's another type of pickle?
Dill.
We already used that one.
What?
I don't know. There are only so many pickles out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Jake, do you want to take away to the next one before this spirals wildly out of control?
No, there's lots of okay. So Will Smith says press was vicious to his son over After Earth failure. I led him to a public mauling. It's a great time to be Will Smith. The actor is a frontrunner to land an Oscar nomination for his performance in King Richard, and he has a new memoir titled Will. One moment from the memoir comes when Smith reveals that his son, Jaden, asked to be emancipated from his parents at 15 years old following the critical and box office failure of After Earth. The 2013 M. Night Shyamalan film was based on Will's original idea and was anticipated for reuniting Will and Jaden on the screen for the first time since The Pursuit of Happiness. With Will Smith said, quote, After Earth was an abysmal box office and critical failure. And what was worse was that Jaden took the hit. Fans and the press were absolutely vicious. They said and printed things about Jaden that I refused to repeat. Jaden had faithfully done everything I had instructed him to do, and I had coached him into the worst public mauling he'd ever experienced. We never discussed it, but I know he felt betrayed. He felt misled, and he lost his trust in my leadership. At 15 years old, when Jaden asked about being an emancipated minor, my heart shattered. He ultimately decided against it, but it sucks to feel like you've hurt your kids. End quote. That's tough. That's tough. That's, I guess, the kind of inherent risk of being a child actor.
Yeah, they go through a lot, and it's unfair. And I was gonna say this, but now I feel bad because I know I'm in the same group. People get so worked up over the slightest thing. Like they get oh my goodness, I can't remember the word. It's
misconstrued.
No, it's unrealistically, unjustifiably angry over these stupid things. And I can't say anything because while I was not seething with rage, I was baffled over a lot of the stuff surrounding Spider-Man No Way Home, specifically the movie posters. So I really can't condemn everybody for like going after a child for a bad movie. Well, I can because it's not his fault.
Yeah, no, that's kind of ridiculous to go over any actor. Like, unless like it was their performance, which I mean, I'm sure like it didn't help, but when it's a child actor, especially, it's really inappropriate to go after the actor for something, for any grievance you have with a film. I remember like the whole thing with Breaking Bad where the actress who played Skylar got like so much backlash and death threats because like she's just an annoying character. Like she's not an annoying character on the show, but some people felt that way. And it's just ridiculous because like,
yeah, no, exactly.
I mean,
do you not know how
just to
TV works?
Just to bring more to that point, their kids being paid to do his job, and they're being paid to be like coached what to do and stuff. I mean, like that's what you're supposed to do. Like I know it's like a show and like movies and stuff, but like these, at the end of the day, at that time, they're still just kids, and they're being paid to act for audiences that are so invested to the product.
Well, I will say something regarding both of what you just said. Number one, I think a lot of that stems from jealousy. Like, oh, this kid is getting paid 6 times the amount I do. Let me bash him. And
there's probably some of that in there.
Yeah. And then the whole like critics overall are just, I don't get it. Like it makes no sense to me to just tear something apart and be like, yeah, this is what I think of it. This is what you all should think of it.
Well, tearing something apart can be very fun. That's a point. And also sometimes like this movie, probably it wasn't very good. Like, yeah, but I don't know.
It doesn't deserve bashing a 15-year-old child.
Yeah, that's
who clearly was not. It clearly wasn't his idea.
Oh,
and if it was his idea, a 15-year-old just wrote a movie. I think that's pretty impressive, whether it's the next Marvel hit or not. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, every Marvel fan and every Spider-Man fan is literally criticizing the movie poster to the trailer because they think what is and what's not and what they think that's going to be in the film. And
yeah,
this is my opinion, not station. I think that's such a huge problem with Marvel fans because they're so loyal and they're so invested to the product of comics to movies to now shows, is that they're so invested in what they want and what they think, and ultimately they might not get it, and that's when they take to social media.
Well, that is another thing.
Their displeasure of what they're thinking, because I watched the new Spider-Man trailer,
right,
and people were taking screenshots and they're saying, who is this trying to attack the Sandman? Who is this trying to attack Electro?
Yeah,
it's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which I think, in my personal opinion, I really don't think he's the best Spider-Man of all of them, because I'm a firm believer in the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, because that's a whole
nother can of worms.
But I'm just not going to anger any more Marvel fans because I don't know much Marvel stuff than looking at the movies, so I don't want to get attacked for my opinion.
Right, but that's another thing too. There's one thing to just senselessly bash something that's even the slightest bit of not good, but then it goes the other way too, of just mindlessly praising everything something does. And this could be said for anything, but the extremes on both ends of anything are just not healthy for the people in them. It's really gonna, like, you're causing yourself unnecessary stress, but at the same time, like, it's just not good for the people around you. Like, there should be a moderation in anything. Like, call something out when it's not good. Don't tear it to pieces just for doing it, but at the same time, don't say, oh, they can do no wrong.
Well, I don't know. I think you could tear something to pieces all you want, as long as you're focusing on the media and not the people who made it. Unless the people who made it deserve to be torn to pieces.
If they're horrible people,
it does happen, but it doesn't seem like this is the case.
Well, no, that's in my opinion. That's what I did. Like, I went to Twitter to talk about my experience in watching The Many Saints of Newark, like the prequel movie to The Sopranos. Like, they had a bunch of stuff that I liked, but I will say, and I won't give any spoilers for anyone who still hasn't watched it, like, I didn't like the plot. I didn't like the whole background of the story.
Right.
It felt focused essentially on one thing, and it really didn't provide any more background on the character of Tony Soprano, because it wasn't supposed to be about Tony Soprano.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. But yeah, it's exactly what you're saying there. With that being said, we've reached the end of the Morning Buzz. I have been your host, Kyle Pepitone, here with my co-host, Jacob Getz, and our news/sportscaster, Campbell Donovan. This has been 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair. And would anybody like to say their goodbyes?
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, good point. Totally forgot about that.
Happy Turkey Day.
Happy Turkey Day, everybody.
Just make sure you watch the parade and watch football. Just
if you're interested, of course.
Yeah.
And make our sportscaster happy.
That's the one thing. And then they'll get into arguments about music because they'll never win that argument.
Oh no, those can go on for hours.
It's gonna be awful on Thursday for me.
All right, have a great Thanksgiving, guys. We'll see you next week.